Peace and welcome to the culture right here on the Black Star Network, folks. We got a great show for you. Happy Monday. Let's first talk about let's have a case or conversation about term limits. There's a larger conversation about Supreme Court justice, but I also want to bring up the fact: what about for the president, for senators, and so many other national public offices? We'll have a deep dive into that topic. Also, Starbucks can't be America's public toilet. Do you know, folks, that there is a small supply of public toilets right now? That America, the government has actually talked to Starbucks about allowing people to use their restrooms. Well, guess what? The CEO of Starbucks said, you can't keep doing that anymore. And where do you go when you have to go? We'll have that conversation. Also, at the 4 o'clock mark, I'm asking this question: does capitalism make it hard for you to feel good about buying anything? We'll break that down for you. And then later, let's talk about Issa Rae's Rap Shit, her new television show. I had a chance to watch it over the weekend. I got some things to say, so I just thought I'd talk to my artists to get their take on it. And of course, we got Trend Posting doing the most. We got something major dropped this weekend that I want to share with you. So stay with us. It's all happening on today's edition of The Culture right here on the Black Star Network. Let's go. Folks, welcome back. Welcome to the show today. We got a number of great discussions that we want to get into, so let's jump right in. First and foremost, there has been a number of people since the health of President Biden has kind of declined as a result of COVID-19. Now, the president is doing much better. He has been given some antibiotics, but the larger question still looms, which is the idea of having older people serving in public office. Now, this is also a big question among Supreme Court justices, where there were, after the decision about Roe v. Wade was made, there was a poll that came out from the Associated Press. And check this out, folks. Here's the numbers for that. The poll from the Associated Press Nork Center for Public Affairs Research, they found that 67% of Americans support a proposal to set a specific number of years that Supreme Court justices serve instead of life terms, including 82% of Democrats and 57% of Republicans. Now, the views are similar about a requirement that justices retire by a specific age. Now, that conversation is happening. And then on top of that, you also have to look at, well, what about other places in our national government, in the federal government, where you're talking about senators, where you're talking about representatives, where you're talking about even the president, right? It was brought to the attention through an op-ed in Esquire magazine that Senator Chuck Grassley, for example, who is 88 years old, is planning to run for another term again. By the end of his term, he will be 95 years old. Now, according to this op-ed that was placed in the Esquire, this was written by Jack Holmes, who is an author of a number of books. He's an author, he's a political scientist, and he brings up the point that at a certain point, older people, and this is not ageism, folks, but this is just the simple fact that as you get older, your faculties are not quite as strong as they used to be. I want to share with you what Mr. Holmes have to say, and then let's have a conversation about it. But he has it in his piece called The Case for Age Limits in American Politics. Take a look at this. Let me just share this with you very quickly. He brings up the point that you have a number of senators, a number of other areas where age limits are set, except for the national government. Take a look at this, folks. He said the FAA mandates that pilots retire at 65. Their colleagues in air traffic control are out at 56, though they can get exceptions to work until they're 61. Most police departments show employees the door in their 60s. At White Shoe Law Firm, partners are often pointed to the exit sign by age 68. Foreign service employees at the State Department are out at 65. Mandatory retirements are mostly verboten in the United States, but there are some professions with such intense physical and mental demands that require such high stakes decision making and mental acuity that we've decided they are just different. He said the average age among the signers of the Declarations of Independence was 44. Thomas Jefferson was 33. John Adams, and George Washington all left office at the age of 65. In the current state, the oldest in history, 65, is fairly sprightly, a bit over the median age of 64. 27 members are in their 70s, and 7 are in their 80s. The Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, is 82. Mitch McConnell, the Republican leader in the Senate, is 80. The President of the United States, Joe Biden, is turning 80 in November, and the median age of an American is 38. Wow. Let me just share this final point that Mr. Holmes brought up. He said there is value in having experienced legislators around. This is actually one of the primary arguments against age-agnostic term limits, a policy that in theory would cut down on corruption and cronyism by removing entrenched power players. In practice, though, term limits can enhance the power of lobbyists and industry insiders who become the only force in the policy-making process that remains constant over years and decades as more inexperienced lawmakers cycle in and out. I want to bring in our culture crew member, Jules P., who is a hip-hop artist and activist, and who is just a young man who he's involved in the political system. He understands how things go. But I want to get his take. Also, I want to hear from you. Make sure you post your comments on our YouTube page, Facebook page, and let's just have a brief discussion around this situation. Jules, good to see you again, brother. How are you today?
I'm doing well.
Hey, man, look. Hey, Jules, you're a young man. Mr. Holmes in this piece just brings it out. Everybody is older, Jules. Everybody is older in our government. They're making these decisions. They're making decisions about everything from reproductive rights to women's rights. They're making decisions about race issues. And we have to say it, as much as we like to believe that they're in public service, that they have a certain view, that they have matured or they've made some progress that they're thinking, and some have. Once you get to a certain age, bro, you kind of hold on to certain certain beliefs and values. And that could be an impediment to this country moving forward. What's your take on this whole conversation about age and term limits?
So it's a conversation I actually want to dive deeper in, because I don't think it's even just about that, but I'll start for that focus for the second. So I do feel like, and especially when you're talking about, let's just start at the head of office. So let's start with the president, with him turning 80 in November, which ironically his birthday is the same as mine, shockingly.
Right.
I think that, the world that we look at now, a lot of our, like how they always used to tell us growing up, children are our future. Well, the children of our future, we have been making the impact since our 20s and now our early 30s. And it's like now that's the world that we're living in. That's the social media norm that we're living in, because those are the ones that are the most boisterous, to have the most opinion, the ones that focus on the issues, that drive home the points the most, is basically our age limit. I would say roughly between 28 to, let's just say 45-ish. Let's just throw like and this is no statistics, so nobody quote me. This is just my observation of what's going on, of what I'm around, the circles I'm in. It's not to say that our 50s, 60s, and 70s don't know what's going on, because that's not the case at all, because that's the ones we get the knowledge from. That's right. How we actually understand what's going on in the world. They pass down the knowledge and information from us, so that's what we feed off of. Also, they're the ones that's ingratiated with the policies and procedures that have been placed already, that can, guide us on what we need to know as far as information and knowledge and these decisions that they're making. So we're not just going to shell out the older age as well. But the way that America is working nowadays, your CEOs, your billionaires are all younger. They're not the old. You don't have to wait till your 60s and 70s to see your billions anymore. Our CEOs are getting younger. Our entrepreneurs are getting younger. So now that needs to reflect on our politics as well, because now it's like, okay, you're making decisions based off of thoughts or lifestyles or just pure personality that you have been living with for the past 50, 60, 70 years, i.e. Roe versus Wade. I mean, and that's just another tangent for me to go off, because that's a whole nother topic that just kind of pissed me off. But those are the same ideals and views that have been carried on by so many from those ages and those times. It's like we have new voices now. That's not right.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And the other point I want to focus on and talking about that is, it's not so much of right or wrong as far as decision making, but it's also about this. What is your mind? Where's your heart? Because that's how decisions need to be made. It doesn't need to be made based off of archaic views and things from times and decades ago. If it makes sense, let's go forward. If it fits the American people, if it's going to help the people, which we know politics usually don't give a damn about us, but I mean, I'm just saying in the inference of having this discussion, if it makes sense for the people, let's march on forward with it. Let's not have the same archaic views that we've had for 40 and 50 years back from times when those things were, you had to make laws to get out of those things to begin with. So let's not have that same archaic view and go right back to those times in the middle of 2022.
Right. I want to bring in B Fly, our other cultural crew member. B Fly is the co-founder of Blackwater Production House, is a filmmaker as well. B, when we're talking about age and term limits, looking at that a vast majority of our political leaders, whether you're talking about in Congress or you're talking about the White House, you're talking about in the judicial system of Supreme Court justice, these are individuals who are in their 70s and 80s. And when we're seeing how America is changing, the diversity, the age of the average American, there's a huge gap there, B. How do we start to bridge the gap? Are you in favor of term limits for certain roles like Supreme Court justices that currently has a lifetime appointment? Are you in favor of that once you get to a certain age, you need to be shown the door, like in other professions, like being a doctor or possibly a lawyer or, in other spaces? What are your thoughts?
I mean, I think there should be like another sort of litmus test that's different, that's separate from just age, like we should be able to factor in your health, your mental faculties, and also what process you're going through in order to pass that baton to the next generation or to your next replacement, so it's like within any infrastructure, within any organization, if you're operating at a helm for 50 years, you should also put in at least 10 to making sure that the next person who's coming after you is prepared, to lead the next leg of that race. So without that, you end up having these really corrupt systems that I think are being held more so because there's when you know where the bodies are, ain't nobody getting rid of you, and so it's there's a need for a full overhaul within the American government system, and so it's like the fact that you can be on the Supreme Court for 80 years if you live that long,
if you live that long, B,
is problematic, for a lot of different reasons, especially when you don't have.
Sorry, talking to my son. That was
classic.
That's what happens on live TV sometimes.
Listen, tell Nigel I said what's up.
All right, so it happens, bro. I got children.
But listen, and he wants you to pass the torch, Farajii. So if you don't have a system, to keep the Nigels there and pass the torch to them, what's gonna happen? So it's like, who is Clarence Thomas preparing to pass that torch to? Like, these are problems, and so it's but you know how I feel. I feel like we're supposed to revolt against the whole system, smash it, and then recreate it. How do you recreate something that is kind of that is built on bullshit while it's moving? You know what I'm saying? So it's like this. I'm not surprised at the age of Nancy Pelosi and Biden and Trump and all of these non-black people. But
Right,
what I
right.
would like to know, but they know where the bodies are, so they're not
But
going
and
anywhere
see, that's the
anytime soon.
problem, though, B. That's the problem, and I think that speaks to that's one of the consequences of when you're in office for so long, you become the gatekeeper, right? That's in any profession, any space, any industry that you're a part of. That as much as we love to talk about stability, there is a very real concern. I would think a very real concern that uh, um, that if you're in a space for too long, you now became from the space of being a solution to being a part of the problem. And in public service, there's a very thin line between those two places, right? In public service, because you want to be there to get things moving. You want to be there for innovation and change. But when do you no longer become a changing force and now become the management force? You know what I mean? You're not innovating nothing. You just sustaining what's already been happening. And I'm saying
Yeah,
sustaining
but when it comes to the Supreme Court, like we don't really have a say in those appointments, like for real,
We don't have to say
So
anything.
in any of that, so it's and unless we have a full patriot movement, they're staying they're staying where they are, so yes, it would be wonderful if they all had a decade, but then would we have to vote? I think, and then would you be giving Americans more to vote for, as if Americans are showing up to the polls the way the Americans are supposed to show up to the polls? So there's a part of it that, like, I don't really, I don't want any more responsibility in the hands of the American people over my life and body.
I agree with
That's
that
a
too.
that's a scary thought, to put more voter responsibility on the people who are as lackadaisical as they are. That's that's scary.
it is scary. It is scary. Let
That's
me go to
scary.
let's go to some of our viewers right now. Folks are just checking in on our YouTube page. I'm gonna try to get to as many comments as possible for this first part of the conversation. Damon, you checked in. Damon, it's always good to hear from you, bro. You say younger people can never get the experience until others get out the way. Oh, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. That's one of the problems. Like we can have the conversation about age, but as you said, B, where's the conversation? And as you said, Jules, where's the conversation about setting up for the next generation?
There you
If you're
go.
in a position for 20 years, and I'm speaking of, being a senator or anything of that capacity, you should be like, all right, I'm gonna tune out. And I know why, because one, is financially feasible, it's financially uh, um, it's good for your finances to be in that position. Two, of course there's power and an influence in that position. So you don't want to give up all of that for the sake of some young person coming behind you. But in order for us to keep this country moving forward, and I'm having the same conversation, not just about age limits, but in here locally in Baltimore, there's a conversation about, when do you say enough is enough, especially if your personal stuff starts to outweigh your professional gains. And at this point, we have to ask the same question around this piece around case and of age and term limits. Like when you are becoming older than, or you're starting to no longer speak to the sentiment of the American people, right? You're out of touch, you're out of tune, and you constantly like, well, they need to come back to my thinking. And in some cases, yeah, but in some other cases, important conversations like Roe v. Wade, no, we don't need to go back to 50 years, how things were 50 years ago. Because 50 years ago, a lot of us wouldn't be here if it was up to the political system, right? A lot of us wouldn't have some of the rights that we enjoy today. So we have to have a much bigger conversation. So Damon, appreciate you. Janelle checked in and said, look, hey, I'm 55, and I believe that folks should be out of politics by the age of 55, 60. I think folks at 60 to 65 should be in mentorship roles only. I like it. I like it a lot.
that.
I like that. I think that's feasible. I think that's doable.
I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that because
Okay.
that.
Well, B, you don't like it.
I don't like that. I don't like that. That's ages. That's ages.
It's not ages, B.
Yes, it is.
First
Yes, it is. Yes,
B.
it is. Because I know minds that are 60 and prime. And here's the thing. Here's what makes those minds prime, because they make sure that at every decision that they're really making, that there are several generations represented in that thought process. You know what I'm saying? So once you get into the mindset of making any kind of age unilateral decision, we have a problem, and nobody is safe. You know, so it's like
here's my point on that. Here's my point on that, very quick, and then Jules, I'm gonna let you say.
Because if they 65 jogging every day, eating
it don't matter. It still don't matter.
Not eating swine.
No, I'm not talking about
to
that.
the youth. Got a nice little balance.
That's all well and good,
jazz to trap, and then there's a certain synapse that's being fired off at every.
But here's a couple of things
which makes you able to make proper decisions.
Hey, but look, let's keep it real though. You and I know, and I'm saying you and I particularly because Jules is younger than us, but you and I, as we're getting older, as much as we're doing the things like you're saying we're doing, and I do that, I like to run, I like to keep myself in shape, but I also know, like, you know what I mean, the age I'm in my 40s, so I'm like, whoo, certain things are catching up with me, right? So I think there's a natural side, but then even more importantly, I feel like age, if we do age limits, or it's like the great equalizer. There's one thing that you can't run away from. There's one thing that is outside of your social economics, outside of your race. The great equalizer is time, right? So with that, with your age thing, if you're not pushing things forward, if you're not making an impact by the time you're 65 and you're in public office for 20 years, 10 years, like what are you doing? Like you're wasting time, because at this point.
So what? You supposed to go on the couch and just knit?
No, I'm not saying that.
You're supposed
and
to
I think Janelle was making a great point.
You ain't supposed to get you. So it's no skin in the game. No skin in the game.
The skin in the game is no.
You're supposed to just mentor.
The skin in the game comes from the next generation. The skin in the game, like for example, if I say, all right, I want my man Jules to host the show, I want to pass the torch to Jules, right? That's my legacy is already set, because guess what? Jules ain't gonna never get on any public platform and be like, man, Farajii, he gonna always raise me up. You know what I'm saying? He gonna always lift me up. So my legacy is already sealed, just like us being parents. Your legacy is sealed. I don't expect to live forever. So if I die tomorrow, my son, he don't have to carry my name, because guess what? He gonna carry my name. You know what I'm saying? But that's just me. Jules, you got the final word. What's your take, bro?
So a couple of things. One, I agree and I disagree on both steps, if that makes sense. Let's talk about how, if I agree with B talking about people in the age 65, jog, all this other stuff. That's fine. That's people we know. That's not our politicians.
Yeah.
Another thing. So there's more conversation about trying to get Tom Brady to retire than it is about getting these senators out of office. Well, let's review the facts. Tom Brady, because I'm not no Tom Brady. I'm not like Tom Brady supporter, big advocate, whatever. But let's look at the statistics. 2 years ago, he was in the Super Bowl. It wasn't like he was 1-15 or 1-16 performing poorly. 2 years ago, he was in the Super Bowl. Last year, he was in the playoffs. So at 45, he's still performing at an age where in sports years, you're supposed to be long gone to make room for the next generation.
Right.
So if you're still able to perform at the highest level, I don't give a damn about your age. But the problem we're seeing is when I got my president standing on a bike still and then falling the hell over, I got issues with that.
Or forgetting things.
I have issues.
And again, the president is about to take 80. We're talking about public service.
Y'all were supposed to vote for Kanye, and this is what happens when you didn't vote for Kanye. You could have had your young, spry president, but that's not who you voted for. You could have voted for Hillary, who's younger, sprier, but you didn't do that, did you? You voted for two back-to-back old-ass white men, and now you want to complain. This is what happens. Sorry. No, I'm sorry.
We should have voted for. You know what? I'm gonna do this. We're gonna take a quick pause. When we come back, I want to share. Let's continue the conversation on the other side. We should have voted for Kanye okay, he don't have a problem with his age, but he does have mental issues.
Don't they all?
All right, let's have this
Trump
conversation.
sparked a whole riot.
I ain't gonna disrespect my sister on air, so I'm gonna just take a quick. I need to rethink some things. Stay with us, folks. We got a lot to get to in the second 30. It's the culture here on the Black Star Network. Jeez.
Don't you think it's time to get wealthy? I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and my new show on the Black Star Network focuses on the things your financial advisor or bank isn't telling you. So watch Get Wealthy on the Black Star Network.
Pull up a chair, take your seat. The Black Tape with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jackie Hood-Martin, and I have a question for you. Ever feel as if your life is teetering and the weight and pressure of the world is consistently on your shoulders? Well, let me tell you, living a balanced life isn't easy. Join me each Tuesday on Black Star Network for A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie. We'll laugh together, cry together, pull ourselves together, and cheer each other on. So join me for new shows each Tuesday on Black Star Network, A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie.
It's time to be smart.
Roland Martin's doing this every day.
Oh, no punches!
Thank you, Roland Martin, for always giving voice to the issues.
Look for Roland Martin in the whirlwind, to quote Marcus Garvey again.
The video looks phenomenal, so I'm really excited to see it on my big screen.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
I got to defer to the brilliance of Dr. Carr and to the brilliance of the Black Star Network.
I am rolling with Roland all the way.
Honored to be on a show that you own. A black man owns the show.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
I'm real revolutionary right now. Roland was amazing on there.
Hey, Black, I love y'all.
I can't commend you enough about this platform that you've created for us to be able to share who we are, what we're doing in the world, and the impact that we're having.
Let's be smart. Bring your eyeballs home.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
You dig?
All right, folks, welcome. We've been having a discussion around age and term limits, as there are big discussions about the term limits of Supreme Court justices, and are based on a new Associated Press poll that says that nearly 2 out of 3 of Americans are interested or really are open to the idea of Supreme Court justices having certain term limits, given that now they have lifetime appointments. Now, that part of the conversation has also spilled over into other offices in our federal government, where people are saying, well, what about senators? What about congresspeople? What about the president of the United States? And so we wanted to have this discussion here on the show, because I think, and look, I am a true advocate. I think there should be an age limit, and I think there should be a term limit. But I'm so happy that some of my culture crew that's joining us, B Fly and my man Jules P, they're not in agreement with it. And that's cool, because I love having a good conversation. But B Fly went too far to say that if we voted for Kanye, then we wouldn't have this conversation about age limit.
I'm just saying, you had a candidate on your ballots that wouldn't be giving you this smoke. But, you chose for the old white man. I didn't. That wasn't what I chose. You all chose that. So you get what you get.
Experience still matters. Can we say? I mean,
so if experience matters, then so does tenure and age.
All right, B. I see what kind of trick
If it
bags
does.
backwards. I see what kind of reverse psychology you want to use on me today. So I'm gonna fall back because you really are sharp in that area because I see you do that to your husband. So you know what I'm saying. I'm not. I'm gonna back out of that. Let's go back to our watchers and let's continue the conversation. Hey, look, let me see something. Nisa, 1971. Nisa, talk to me. You said the elders don't have as much directly invested in the future. They won't be here for. Look at Roe and the climate crisis and how they're ignoring that. Well, and see, to your point, Nisa, and I always appreciate you, Nisa. Thank you for checking in. To your point, I think that is part of the reason why we need to have this conversation. If you're 80 plus, and I'm not saying that 80 plus, that means that, you know, you might as well get a shovel and pick out your tombstone. I'm not saying that. I'm just simply saying personally, it's a little bit, Jules, help me here, bro. It's a little bit like, if nobody else can, I can, and I will.
Right.
And for me, it's almost like if you're in your 80s, right? I remember back in the day, and y'all can debate me. Back in the day, they said once you get to the age of 75, those are what they consider to be your golden years, or rather 65. Once you get to the age of retirement, they say those are your golden years, the years afterwards. Now, we know that the change in dynamics in this country has limited those golden years because people still have to work and Social Security and all of that other stuff. But notwithstanding those things, that they're your golden years. These are the time of your life where you're supposed to, after working 40 or 50 years in any industry, you enjoy your family more, you spend time for self-care and all of these things. There's a little bit of this kind of like arrogance, like, well, nobody else can do the job better than me, so therefore I'm gonna keep doing it. And that's what I have the problem with. It's not that nobody can be that we don't have qualified people to be president. It's just that somebody feels compelled. Oh, the American people want me, or the American people or my constituents think that I'm the best. And I have a little problem with that, Jules. I have some pushback I want to give on that because that's not true. There are people behind you that they may not do as best of a job, but they're going to make some gains. They're not going to be a totally just crazy president or just in political representative. Am I wrong in thinking that, Jules?
No, because here's my perspective as well. All right, you can have that same perspective, and I'm fine with that. But I'm not just going to pick the black candidate because he's black. Are they qualified to do the damn job? Do I trust them to make the proper decisions? Do I trust them with my life in their hands? Like, even with white people, even with if we're going to have women as well, it's like I can't just vote for you based off of you're black or you're woman or because you're white. Like, what is your heart saying? Because that's how I judge people. Like how Brother Roquan said a couple months, like last month when he talked, it's like it's leading with love. Like, what is your heart saying? Where are you leading this with? Because if you're going with the same, like I said, archaic views, then that's not for me. I'm young. I'm inspiring. I want to be in higher offices, or I want to be in CEOs of companies and things like that. And it's like, okay, in order for me to do that, in those avenues, I have to create them myself. But what about the avenues that's already created for me, like politics, like Senate, like Supreme Court, like president? Those avenues are already created. And if I want to get into those same realms and ball fields and play the same games, I'm being told, hey, where your qualifications at don't match to the people that have been here for 30, 40, and 50 years because of their experience. So we're not going to look to you as the person to come in next. That's why I do agree with the comment saying, hey, the only way we're able to get into those spaces is, unfortunately, when they pass away. Yeah. I mean, that's literally the only way you're allowed to get into these spaces. And it's like, okay, yeah, I'm not going to just vote for somebody because they're young. What else are you bringing that can help the ideals? And then also, let's look at the reverse side, because this is the problem that I have with politics. You say all that crap when you're first running, but when you get in the office, then you're handicapped, then you're strapped, then you're handcuffed, because now they don't allow you to do the stuff that you want to do and change. So now what do? what's your next action? Are you going to stay there, or are you going to use your platform and say, all right, boom, I got to this point, they tripping, I'm going to do my own thing, I'm going to lead a movement, I'm going to start an organization, I'm going to create a coalition, and I'm going to run with that. That's the type of people that I want, because it's like, okay, you had the ideals to get there, and then when you got there, you didn't play the game that they want you to play and keep you in that same position that they're in. You're like, no, this ain't what I came in here for. I want to go and create and do my own thing. So that's the people that I want to look to and follow for if that was my case.
Right. Absolutely. All right, let's go back to the comments, because people are saying stuff because B said some stuff.
Oh, they cussing.
So we're gonna say, so people are saying stuff. But let's go, my man King Lee, brother King Lee. King Lee, you said, look, I'm 61. As I have aged, I have become more socially conservative. Right? That's what happens. Than I had been when I was in my 20s and 30s, etc. I want more young leaders being mentored by Black righteous brothers and sisters. And look, King, my guy, King, you know, that's what happens. Like, as you get older, you become more conservative, right? You see, it's a natural evolution. You start to see the world from a different lens because you're older. You're not going to do the same things in your 20s. You're not going to think the same way. You shouldn't. So I get that, which is why that if you have a constituency, and I'm not even talking about the country, let's just talking about a state constituency whose population is becoming more diverse, interests are becoming more evolved over time, more progressive, more liberal in some cases, then you're going to have to either work harder to try to understand those people, or if you just go too hard in your conservative thinking because you're getting older, then guess what? There's going to be some repercussions for that. So King, I appreciate you on that. Karina checked in talking about B. I had to stop in the middle of what I'm doing for work because B disrupting everybody to state my rebuttal on that Kanye nonsense. Oh, hell no. But she also said to Karina's point, she said, wait, what y'all have on issue that POTUS fell off the bike? Did I get that? And no effing way to Kanye. F out of here with that, sis. No disrespect, just keeping it real. All right, B, I'm going to let you respond.
I got the people cussing. My bad.
You got the people cussing.
My bad. But you know, it's good to feel stuff. Good to feel it strongly.
Right. Karina, she feels passionate about a lot of these issues, so I get it.
Listen, as we should, you know, but at the end of the day, we still have a minimum age when it comes to like even attempting to be president, correct?
Right. That's for the president of the United States and for Congress.
Right.
Okay. That's for the Supreme Court.
Right. So of course, you know, within that framework, right? When you have a minimum of 35, 36, all right, you're not gonna. Okay, so you're not gonna have a maximum of 55. All right, that's just what that is. All right, and so it's like there are some positions that are required, you know, to be held by the most experienced in the game. All right, so if we're not talking about muscular strength, and if we're not talking about muscular speed, we're talking about the ability to use wit. We're talking about the ability to outthink the other person, all right? Only someone who has been playing chess for 20 years can do that with another chess player who's been playing for 20 years, all right? So there's some games that are just not the game for the average youth. And that's just what that is, all right? Yeah. And that's period, point blank. And there are some games that are not meant for the average senior citizen, period, point blank, all right? So it's like, so I think we just need to understand the framework of what we're dealing with when it comes to the government and thinking, you know what I'm saying? And so it's like, that's really just what it is. Now, when we look at voters, right, the average voter, the average young voter does not even vote for itself. The average youth voter still feels as if the youth need to be led by someone who's older and wiser, and that is reflected in the way they vote. So so there's a difference between, you know, just a great debate and actually like the factuals of why we get down and the way we get down. You understand? So it's like, so yeah, I'm always quick to throw Kanye into the game, because at the end of the day, you know, he was, in my opinion, our most viable candidate. But most of my demographic did not even see themselves as viable, and so voted for the old white guy. That idea needs to be wrestled with. We have to be able to shake the tree of that thought, you know? And so, and that's not my thought. That's the thought of everyone else who bumps Kanye, but did not vote for Kanye, but still voted for who you voted for, you know? And so that was your choice, and that was the majority. You understand?
That's the majority.
So it's like, that's the majority. So I still don't feel comfortable with the majority-led thought process.
Yeah.
At all. You know, there's nothing that has been said from the majority-led thought process that has ever put my Black body first, my Black mind first, my Black uterus first.
And you know what? And you know, to that point, B, I understand why you said that, and I'm glad that you did bring up that point, that a lot of young people don't vote for younger, I'm not gonna say young candidates, younger candidates, right? Because why? The way that we've learned about politics, and more importantly, the way that we learn about power, is still rooted in older people experience, name recognition, right? Mm-hmm. Those are some of the big motivating factors when it comes to the vote. Because we look, so many people, and I've said this, and I'm saying even locally as well as nationally, there are so many people that's running, and I know we often tout, and I've said this, do your research, but then after a while, I was like, wait a minute, hold up. If you got 10 candidates running for one position, who's going to sit down and I mean, in this day and time, and be like, okay, I got a little free time during the election season, let me go and look at the platform of 10 people. And then not just look at their platform, try to figure out, okay, out of these 10 people, who is most aligned with me? Okay, that cuts down to 5. And then, Jules, do the extra work and be like, all right, where do they stand? Then you got to ask yourself, okay, so where do I stand on this? And where do I stand on that? I mean, you know what I'm saying? That's a lot to ask for people to do.
That's the point.
If you want them to be, and I'm saying that's the process of becoming an informed voter, that you got to do this. You have to think critically. You have to do some elimination. You have to understand the differences in the platform. I think we might be, that's why I just literally say, no, don't, you have to vote, but make sure that you understand like just 2 or 3 candidates, because the situation could be so overwhelming. You may not even want to vote at all after a minute.
But that's the point I'm making. So here's where I can understand B's point, and I can understand your point. So if you look at the realm of politicians, let's take, for example, if we're voting based off of ages, our age groups. Well, the younger me didn't understand the nation's politics. It didn't understand the world's politics. Right. So I had to defer to my 40, 50, 60, 70-year-olds, my 80-year-olds, because that's where the knowledge and information came from, because I was too young to understand that. Okay, let's fast forward. Now I'm in my 30s. Early 30s, just got to my 30s a couple years ago, but I'm still in my 30s. I'm now more mature of understanding. I have a more holistic world view. I also have a more holistic country view, but also know what's right and what's wrong first. That's where it starts with me. The problem that I have in this politic game is the candidates that were on the ballots for these senates, these Supreme Courts, these presidents are not of my age group. So it's like, again, I have no interest because you're not, and I'm saying interest as far as representing me. I have interest because, yes, I need direct leadership to run this country for the next 5 to 10 to 6 to 7, 8, whatever years, whatever amount of time you're going to be in office for that we're voting you for. But the problem that I have is there's nobody that's in my age level. So now I take another back seat. Now I have to wait till my 40s. Let's check again in my 40s to see, are there candidates that are idealistically like mine, of like-minded like me, that are thinking the same views, that are voting the same issues, that have the chance to get in. Because I can rock with people that have the same mindset, but if we don't have the chance to get in, then I'm just, again, sitting back and waiting until I get to that point. The candidates that are on these ballots are not of my age bracket yet. Now, you know who is in my age bracket? My mayors. My mayor's in my age bracket.
Yep.
So
That's a good point.
I align myself with, and that's why I rock with, because I was out there in the streets with him when he was doing community work. So now that he got into a position, I was full front and full fledged. This is my I can relate to. I don't care, and I told y'all like last.
Real, man.
I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna keep it 100% real. I don't give a damn about what people's opinion. I don't get down like that. I don't be on social media. I don't be opinionated. I don't be in comment sections. I don't care about that. I just know the person that I work with. So whatever people can say about somebody, you can have your opinion. That's fine. I have mine as well. But the same sense is I'm aligning myself with people that I put the groundwork in with. That's to say, for instance, Farajii would have run for a position. I've been with Farajii since I was 14 years old. Why the hell would I not align myself with somebody that has groomed and gave me leadership values, put me through training, put me on boards, and now put me on television to gain a knowledge aspect on the world holistically, has taught me things along the process. And then I'm saying, oh, well, by the time he runs, I'm going to vote for the person that's 60 years older than him. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. I'm going to align myself with the people that I have to deal with. That's why I say my focus now, and again, it took the age, and I agree with people in the comment section that are talking, I'm aligning myself with the people in my age bracket. They're on the local level of politics. So I have to deal with that aspect as who I'm dealing with on my direct level. So they can take our voices to the governor, they can take our voices to the Senate, then get to the president. That's how this process works. Right now, I'm not aligned with the people in Senate, Supreme Court, and the presidency because I haven't lived that long, and I understand that. So there's no way I'm saying, yeah, I'm turning 35 in 2 years, I'm gonna run for president. I don't know nothing about what needs to be done based off of that realm yet, because I haven't aligned myself with that part of the country dealing with ins and outs, because I can only affect myself based off the problems that I dealt with in my own personal city and my own personal background. But when you're running for something of an office like that, you have to be able to identify with people around the country. Not everybody has the same issues or the same problems in these different sections. Again, that's just my holistic view on what's going on in that process.
Yeah. Hey, bro, I appreciate you, and that's why you're gonna be my campaign manager when we get to that place.
I'm gonna be like Bernie Mac and head of state. You don't want me? I'm snapping as soon as I get off the train. With my hands on you, as soon as we get off the train, baby. Don't talk to me. Don't ask me no questions. Don't ask me what he's doing. Mind your business. Let's run this country. I'm Bernie Mac and head of state, baby. That's my position.
All right, real quick. No, but you bring up something, and I think that's one of the big point of this, which is people are like we're seeing a generation be, and I've seen this. I'm seeing, of course, this in Baltimore, but in states across this country, and we've been having a number of conversations with different mayors in different cities, right? Like, people have to feel connected to their political leaders in some way, shape, or form. They have to fit, in that world, it's called the relatability factor, right? Like, how relatable are they to the people? And now we're seeing a group of young voters who are educated, whether it's from the streets or from the colleges, but they're educated enough to be like, you know what? I'm not feeling this candidate, or I'm not feeling that candidate because they're not speaking to my core values. And I think that that's the part that is often overlooked, that you do have a generation of young people who would like to get involved in the political system, who want to get involved. Jules is a young brother. He's been in, if he's driving down the street and his car getting torn up by potholes, how can he understands that? He's like, man, damn, the state needs to do some things with these roads. You know what I mean? He sees these quality of life issues. Like, the fact is, young people aren't getting involved in politics, not because they just say, oh, no, we're stupid. It's because these candidates or the people that's running don't relate to them, don't speak to their interests. And I think that is one of the big reasons why there is such a huge disconnect. All right, let me just go take a couple more comments very quickly. Sophia, you checked in. You said this country was not built on what we are talking about. Let's get smart. The acronym SMART. I love it. Specific, measurable, attainable goals that are realistic and time specified. I think so. I love it.
A nice metric system.
I love it. Here's the thing: it's too much like right. It's too much
so
like
won't
right.
work in America.
I'm telling you. Look, look, folks. And this is the downfall, probably a consequence of having these type of conversations, being Jules, because it's logical. It makes sense. But the political system that we're currently in does not make sense. And I'm not talking about Democrat, Republican. I'm talking about those who are in the power brokers of the political system, right? They don't do things that make sense. They do things that are politically expedient. They do things that are financially expedient for their interest. It doesn't always have to make sense. It would make sense to have free health care. That makes sense. It would make sense that that you want to fix student loans and debts. That makes sense. But it's not politically expedient. It's not financially expedient. So that's the part that we're talking about there, Sophia. You're making sense having this metric, and people know what that is all about. But at the end of the day, if it don't work for the lobbyists and the interest groups, it's not going to happen. And Janelle, let me hear if you said this. The political machine keeps the younger, more progressive candidates out of the financial running when it comes to getting their message out. Dark money fund older candidates and mindsets. Well, dark money fund people who can speak to their interests, who can be a megaphone for their interests, right? And if you have a generation, and this is why, coming up in, I think it's the first week of August in New Jersey, and I've been talking about this since this show has started, the 1972 Black Political Convention that happened in Gary, Indiana, 50 years ago, which we saw the rise of Black voices such as Jesse Jackson and others, who Al Sharpton, when he was like 18 or so, 19. That it was at that convention, there was a conversation about Black people setting up our own Black political party. In Newark, New Jersey, the first weekend of August, there will be a Black political convention happening with the mayor of New Jersey, Ras Baraka, whose father, Amiri Baraka, was one of the key organizers of that great political convention back in 1972 in Gary, Indiana. So we're still at a place in this country, and as Black people in Black politics, where there needs to be a redefinition of what it is that we want to get out of this political system, how we're going to engage in this political system, and most importantly, where does the next generation fit? Because 50 years ago, there was the same conversation was happening. It was not only just talking about age and term limits, it was also talking about Black representation. That was 50 years ago. We're having this conversation again now. And we really, as much as we have made some gains, I'm not going to disqualify all the gains that we do have younger Black mayors and younger Black representatives. We still haven't made the type of big impact that 1972 was expecting to make. And as we close out, I'll give you 30 seconds. When we look at this, where do we need to go? What kind of dramatic, bold moves do we need to make in order to show that our politics, our core values, our interests are as important, and that we can't keep getting hampered by the shortcomings of this political system?
We need to literally divest today from all that does not serve us. Anything that doesn't serve me, any corporation that doesn't serve me, any political idea that doesn't serve me, I need to divest from it immediately so I can focus into what I need and actually where my solutions are. You understand? The longer I'm not walking in my purpose, the longer someone else is able to fill that gap. So if you are a politician, if you are supposed to be in this game, get in it, be in it loud, use your platform to galvanize your demographic. get our attention, change this game. Like literally, because we can't just do it on the sidelines talking about what we don't like. We have to be able to get into those actual positions that we know is connected to our ministry so we can really get up and fight the powers that be. Like we can't do it sitting on a fence. Like you have to get in there 10 toes down in the situation, you know? And so
Right.
it's like, and that's all there is to it. Whether you're young, whether you're old, you have to have a spirit of a fighter. And if you don't have that, then you're going to be washed away in this new current. And that's just what that is. Like we all have to fight for the freedom and liberation that we know that we need for our children and for ourselves. That's
Absolutely.
all there is to it.
Absolutely. I hear that loud and clear. All right, look, we're going to take a break from that conversation. As we move forward, let's discuss capitalism, folks. Do you feel like because of capitalism, it makes it hard for you to buy anything and feel good about it? I'm going to share with you what famed writer Torre had to say about the impact of capitalism, especially for Black folks. And then later, let's talk about Issa Rae's new HBO program, Rap Shit, where she looks at the dynamic world of hip hop and the role that women play. And I wanted to have this conversation, especially with my two dynamic artists of B Fly and Jules P. So stay tuned for that. And of course, I got some stuff for you for trends, posts, and doing the most. So we got a lot to get to in the next hour of the culture right here on the Black Star Network. We'll be back.
Don't you think it's time to get wealthy? I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and my new show on the Black Star Network focuses on the things your financial advisor or bank isn't telling you. So watch Get Wealthy on the Black Star Network.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jackie Hood Martin, and I have a question for you. Ever feel as if your life is teetering and the weight and pressure of the world is consistently on your shoulders? Well, let me tell you, living a balanced life isn't easy. Join me each Tuesday on Black Star Network for a Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie. We'll laugh together, cry together, pull ourselves together, and cheer each other on. So join me for new shows each Tuesday on Black Star Network, A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie.
Pull up a chair, take your seat. The Black Tape with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
Folks, welcome to the second half of the culture right here on the Black Star Network. So happy that you're able to join us. First half had a great conversation talking about the age and term limits and the many complexities of that conversation with my culture crew members, Jules P and B Fly. But definitely check out the replay for that discussion. Now, also, I wanted to have the conversation about capitalism, folks. Capitalism. Now, this is something that we often talk about here on this show in terms of, you know, is capitalism really working, or does it work for Black people and other people of this country, especially marginalized people, not just Black? And we could say, even though Hispanics and Latinos make up the second largest population in this country, y'all ain't hearing me. First, there are white people, who are the majority, but the second largest population, according to the United States Census, is Latinos, Hispanic Americans, then Black folks. Wow. Now, this just goes to show us that there are some changing dynamics that are happening in this country. And now it has all permeated to us on a very, very personal level, because even when you want to just buy something, your mind automatically go into a place? If your mind is like my mind in some way, do you just say, all right, I want to get this product, I want to get this service, but then you start thinking about the founder of the product? For example, Elon Musk. If you think I thought about getting a Tesla, look at this. This is what Torre wrote for the Griot. He makes this point, and I said, this is interesting. Let's talk about it. Capitalism makes it hard to feel good about buying almost anything. That we have gotten into this culture that even us purchasing anything, we start to think about the politics of the founder. We start to think about the politics of the country, of the company. And as a result of that, we start to have to, quote unquote, justify and rationalize why we are deciding to move forward with that purchase, why we decided to take advantage of that service. And it's absolutely draining. Let's have this conversation with our Culture Crew members, B. Fly, who is the co-founder of Blackwater Production House and documentarian and fantastic women filmmaker, and my man Jules P., who is a hip hop artist and activist. B and Jules, let me just share with you what Torre first had to say, and then let's go to getting your thoughts. Here's what Torre said about this idea of feeling bad about capitalism. He said, there is this constant problem in modern capitalism. We've glorified and lionized the leading CEOs and top entrepreneurs as if they were the winners of capitalism or something. We've created movies like Steve Jobs and The Social Network, and TV shows like We Crashed and Dropout, and documentaries and books that document the personalities of the kings and queens of capitalism that tell us about their business exploits, their genius minds, and the eccentricities. When we know everything about someone, we just might know too much, certainly enough to dislike them immensely. He goes on to say a lot of people in the top 1% support Trump and far-right causes. And it makes us sick to support them, because if we do, then are we not ultimately funneling a little of our money into causes that we hate? Many of us also patronize companies that have business practices that disgust us, and we're tortured, but find them hard to avoid. Their products are so good or their services are so convenient that shopping elsewhere could be more work than we're willing to do. Amazon. And he said, it's like the great writer Roxane Gay famously wrote in Bad Feminist about being disgusted by R. Kelly, but still unable to deny the incredible beat of the Ignition remix. I know the feeling. So can we still love and or use a product or a brand even if we dislike the politics of the owner or CEO? Great question. Great question, because I'm in that space, Jules. B, I'm in that space. Like, if you don't have a Prime account, right, to start it off, like you're going to get a Prime account. You're going to get
or
it.
you're going to wait. Or you're going to wait.
I like Jeff Bezos. You may not like him. You don't like. You probably like. I like his ex-wife more than I like him, right? And you still feel a certain type of way. Elon Musk, you feel a certain type of way. Like we're in this. This is what capitalism has done. That it has forced people to make decisions that are not, quote unquote, in their best moral interest, but it's financially feasible. It's financially feasible. It's like the old thing, B, where if a black man is selling a case of water for, say, $6, then we'll say, hey, I can get it at Walmart for $3. Now, the $6 goes to that man's hands. The $6 goes, the $3 extra that he would be making, that goes to that man. We understand that, but there's still something about capitalism that puts us in this tortured space where we have to kind of desensitize or turn off some level of consciousness in order for us to engage in it. Am I wrong?
Right? I think that's where the issue comes in. When you feel this need to turn off and to desensitize, because you're supposed to insert your moral compass. to help you make these decisions with how you
Can you do
spend
that?
your money.
Can you really do that in this
No,
day? And I
you
mean,
really
in America.
can. No, you really can. But enter capitalistic America. We are not socialist as a society. As a society, we are capitalist. So we are trained to get the best bang for our buck. All right. We are trained to shop around. We are trained to compete with other suppliers, and we're trained to want this going on. So it's like, unless you literally insert your moral code of, all right, I don't bang with Elon because of this, and then divest from the Elon system, you're going to be perplexed. But there is no real perplexement when you actually stop patronizing the ones that do you the most moral harm, And so it's like, I'm not necessarily morally harmed by Bezos. He doesn't keep me up at night.
Right.
So I don't have so I'm not morally tortured when I purchase something from Amazon. You understand? But if it's been put on your heart, and if you are tortured and you still participate, then that shows more about that individual than me. You understand? Because I'm participating in getting the most bang for my buck, so I can recycle my dollar blackly where I can. You know what I'm saying? And so those are the decisions that we make in our capitalistic go about, you know what I'm saying? And so, but Farajii, just this past week, since we're talking about Tesla, which operates on a high end, there was a Hyundai plant in Alabama that was raided this weekend because they had Latino children literally assembling the cars. So let's drop this down to one of the most affordable cars in our economy.
Right.
Alrighty, that'll give you 100,000 miles of free shit. Understand? All right. But just this weekend, we have a plant in Alabama shut down because they have 8-year-olds assembling the cars. I personally will never buy another Hyundai as a result of that.
That's the perfect example. So you read a story like that, and you're a Hyundai owner, you won't be like, man, I'm about to take the bus, Jules. I'm about to take the bus, bro. I'm not driving it. I'm not putting no gas in it. And see, the funny thing is, we talk about, and I'm glad you brought that up, B, because we could talk about that, and that's in like a consumer goods space, right? I mean, there are a number of companies that we still support, but quote unquote have not supported us. I remember there was a whole conversation about Snapple, right? Snapple being racist. Everybody like, oh, we can't do, don't drink no Snapple. People still drinking Snapple.
When I was like 12. I was
right.
12.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, decoding, trying to find a ship. That's a slave ship.
Right. there was a lot of controversy about Starbucks. People still drink Starbucks coffee. Like, I feel like there is no quote unquote, Jules, morally acceptable large scale company. I mean, every company is going to have its shit. You know what I'm saying? Every company's going to have it's going to have some skeletons in the closet.
Thank you.
You feel what I'm saying? Like, I just look, my wife and I, we just watched this documentary, 2 documentaries, one on Abercrombie and Fitch, the other one on Victoria's Secret. And how, in particular, this Victoria's Secret one, how there was a culture of objectifying women. There was a culture of, some level of sexual abuse, especially with Jeffrey Epstein. You know what I mean? There was this culture. But does that say, and they are in Victoria's Secret, they didn't distance themselves the way that, even with his founder, who owns all of these brands, Lane Bryant and all of these other brands, Lex Wexler, I believe his name is, Les Wexler, excuse me. But does that stop people? Does that stop people? So I'm trying to figure out, like, how do we resolve the capitalism buying crisis when you know that the CEO, the founder, is not in your moral or value or in your moral interest?
You ready?
I'm ready.
Because I'm about to go in.
Go ahead. Let's go.
Okay. So let's start with 2019, there was a documentary on Netflix by Killer Mike, where he traveled around trying to buy, it was called Warning, buying black. Just Google it, don't quote me on it. Trigger warning. That's what it's, trigger warning.
Yeah.
Living black. So he basically tried to spend a whole 24 hours by using everything black owned, black created. And I can give it away because it's already 3 years into it, but he couldn't survive a whole day. He tried every aspect. He tried taking a bus company. The bus was owned and manufactured by a white plant. So he could take it was so much compelling about this documentary. So at the end of the day, he basically, finalized that he couldn't do everything buying black. So let's start with that aspect. 2, the question, does capitalism ruin your purchases? No. But to each his own. And here's why I say no. When I go into a store, whether Target, whether a Giant or Shoppers, whatever, and I want to try a new product, the first thing you do is pull out a Google review and you review the product. You don't review who the hell created and what's their political stance and all that. You're saying, what are other people saying about this product? Not too many people just jump straight to what's their political stance, or where they Roe versus Wade, where did they stand on it? Or are they Republican? Are they Democrat? What's their feelings on racism in the country? We don't do that for every product. So let's get that mindset together. People literally jump straight on Google because it's in the palm of your hand and say, hey, what are people saying about this product? Does it work? Is it good? So they don't give a damn about who the hell the capitalist person is. Let's go to another aspect of this. Let's talk about these big corporations, your Tesla, your Walmart, your Target, your Amazons. Okay. I stand like this, how I stand. And Tesla, Elon Musk can have his views, but it's not to say the employees that are creating the product, because Elon just sits at the top. That's all he does. He sits at the top. But what about the people that are actually creating the cars, building the cars, manufacturing, putting new technology in there? They don't have the same ideals and views as him. Because I can say that because I don't have the same ideals and views as the people that I've worked for in the past. I have my own created mind. I have my own pathways that I'm trying to follow. So I'm not going to penalize them. Yeah, you don't want to put money into those CEO those pockets, but if the product is good, if it's worth it, you're just looking at Google reviews. You're not looking into the, with the exception of Elon coming out and saying what he said. That's fine. Let's go to an Amazon. All right, I can feel how I feel about Amazon all I want, but in the city of Baltimore, they have employed a lot of African American people that didn't have jobs. So, am I going to hate the man for where he stands at? But it's so many different locations of people in the city that can work in the downtown warehouse, they work in the White Barns warehouse. There's so many jobs that he created for us to have opportunity in a city that needed that type of infrastructure to have an economy and jobs. And he's given excellent benefits, pay, and bonuses. Right. So am I really faulting him because of where he stands, or the company is the dominating of they're taking over this, or the Walmarts because they're taking all the mom and pop stores, but they're I kind of got to look at it differently.
So, and I'm glad you brought that up, because you gotta. There has to be some checks and balances.
Has to be.
There has to be some checks and balances, right?
You can't lean all the way to the left or to the right. You can't.
Yeah, and I think that's the other part of it, which is, for example, if Amazon created a space and say, hey, for all of our Black creators, whether you're an artist, whether you're a designer, for all of our Black creators, we're going to make sure that your products are at the top of the page,
right?
Are emphasized. We're going to give you a special banner on Amazon.com. Click here to support your Black creators. It's like, do you totally throw the baby out with the bathwater?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Or do you start to? And I think I feel like this is the big discussion, because it's an ongoing discussion, because you can say, okay, I'm not going to support this institution, this retail institution. I'm not going to support this institution. But at the end of the day, maybe the new goal should be, for example, you say Elon, we're talking about Elon Musk. Elon is his company is creating a car. It's not like they provide human services.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
That's different. You feel what I'm saying? Even if you look at the guy from whoever, the CEO of Chick-fil-A, they're providing a service, a food service. It's not human service, right? In the same way. Now, you can get down to individual stores and some of the store managers and how they personal politics, and that can throw you off. But I guess I'm just trying to find what is a metric that we can use to not be in a space where you start to feel bad about purchasing simply because the company CEO, you're not in agreement with the company CEO. Like you can't. I don't know who runs Baltimore Gas and Electric or any gas and electric company, but I need gas and electric.
Right. I got it.
And we also don't like them.
I got it on either or more, and like so. I guess I'm about to ruffle some feathers, but I don't care. So let's talk about Black businesses. I have this discussion a lot. You want to support Black businesses, but when you go to their websites, they don't never have nothing because it's always sold out. Or the people that you're dealing with are super freaking unprofessional. And I'm just talking about my experience. I'm not talking about every Black business or people that are watching that are Black entrepreneurs. This is not directed to you. If the shoe fits, wear it. But this is directed to the ones that I personally have dealt with. They never are professional. They always never have product in stock that you're trying to look for that they're advertising. So it's like, all right, do I say I'm only going to buy Black and support Black? But then I'm dealing with that, so I'd rather go deal with these white corporations who, like you said,
here's the thing, though.
Get the customer service. I know I'm going to get what I need, the things that I've taken care of. So it's like that's the line that we're fighting on a constant basis.
But check this out. We hold. I mean, look. And we got to. I want to get to some comments, but there's a double standard that we use when it comes to black companies and white companies. There's a double standard. We have a very short tolerance and patience for Black companies. We have long tolerance for white companies.
I got a
How
short
many
tolerance.
times have you gone to McDonald's? And I'm just using this, and I'm being serious, bro. How many times have you gone to a McDonald's and they say the yogurt machine is down? If you know what I'm saying, or the service is poor, huh?
80% of the time.
80%, right? Or the service is piss poor. Now, do you say
or the fries cold?
Or the fries cold? But guess what? You know how
we
justify going back to the McDonald's? Oh, don't go to that location. Go to the other one.
But that's based off.
You see what I'm saying? But let it be a Black business, 2 clothing companies, 2 a clothing store, or
closed on a Monday. Let them be closed on a Monday. Let them be closed on a Monday. All hell going break loose.
Let them not pick up the phone. Let them not pick up the phone when you call.
Crazy. Let them be on the other line with Comcast in a bad mood. You know what I mean? Like it's a lot. It's really a lot. Like Black customers hold Black businesses to way higher standards. Like it, and then as soon as there's a human cord, you know what I'm saying? Then you just want to trample all the human cord and then just throw all Blackness out with the baby in the bathwater. Like it happens every day on social media. You know what I'm saying? Every day, like regardless on if somebody patronizes one business, right?
Yeah.
One Latasha's curl and weave and it goes bad, right? Now we're all of a sudden we're in a whole Black business conversation that doesn't happen. We don't take white business to task of accountability in the same way.
And
you know what I'm saying? And we don't take our dollar away from the white infrastructure in the same way we take our money back from Latasha's curl and weave.
And guess what? For Latasha's beauty supply store, Latasha is closer to our values and interests, political interests, than you going to some other beauty supply store
all day.
Right?
But
and I'm talking about as
got to pay
owner.
3 times. Poor Latasha is probably paying 3 times the amount of money for that lash glue than her Asian counterpart. Honestly, you know what I'm saying? So it's poor Latasha is going through hell trying to get better rates, trying to deal with all of the back end of the business with the cash flow that Latasha has in comparison to the cash flow of, Mary Sue, and the shit be different. You know what I'm saying? Right. But still, the level of Black on Black accountability for Black businesses far exceeds the level of accountability on others.
And Jules, I'm gonna give you 30 seconds to respond. Then we're gonna take a quick pause.
So, me personally, I don't agree. And the reason I say I don't agree, me personally, because I have that same pull with every business, whether you're white, Black, whatever. I use the example of Black because that's a lot of times what people always say, go Black, go Black, go Black. But I experienced the same problems that I experienced with white businesses with Black businesses as well. So I'm not highlighting that all Black businesses are this. Like, no, that's not at all. Because with other Black businesses, I don't go to a white hair salon stylist. I have a Black stylist. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't, I'm not shitting on Black businesses. But the point I'm saying is, as businesses in general, I have a short lease. I don't care if you Chick-fil-A. I don't care if you McDonald's. I don't care if you're a restaurant. I don't care if you whatever. If I don't like it, I'm out. I pull out. So there's no.
But I
have a barrier line of color.
And I'm gonna ask this question, and I'm not asking this question to throw shade. I'm asking this question because I think every one of us watching have been in here. If you have a bad experience at one Chick-fil-A, do you just completely stop eating that Chick-fil-A? No.
It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. So we're not talking about the personal. We're talking about the general. Like, what do you see, Jules? You know what I'm saying? From your Black counterparts and the way they also deal with their aggression on Black businesses. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and
like understand, like the three of us, we kind of hold ourselves to a certain like G level on the street, right? But that's not everybody. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like we can see that. We see it. We see it on our timeline. We hear the banter. We hear the trope so much to where it becomes one of ours as soon as Latasha ain't there on a Tuesday. You know what I'm saying? And then we go right back into it. So regardless of like the personal thing, generally speaking, we all know that Black on Black businessing is different from a customer level to a business level.
Their moral standards of capitalism. That's my point too. So then let's get back to the original question. So then do we also check their moral standards of capitalism before we support their business as well? Or do we just say just because they're Black, we support them?
So that's a huge question, because it's like, does capitalism have a soul?
That's the point I'm making. It's like, we can't make this an issue like that. All right, so I get all the points. That's fine. But I'm not going to say, all right, well, what's your views on Roe versus Wade? What did you vote for? Right. Yeah. Like, we're not having those same conversations. We're just saying, because you're Black, I'm going to support you. We don't do that whole thing that we would do with these white.
That is the morality. That's the level of morality, right? And that's a level of value. That's a value-driven decision.
So now it goes back to the C word, which is convenience. That's why most of these businesses, where you live at, is kind of sort of where you shop at. If I live here, I'm not going to drive 35 miles to a grocery store when I got a grocery store right here. It's just now it's about convenience again. So let's take it back to that word. That's what it's all boils down to. So what your capitalism can affect is, well, hey, this owner of this giant here says something racist, so I'm gonna go to the giant in another area instead of going to this one. Or do I still say, hey, I need to get this for this party or this for this event, or I need groceries, I'm gonna go in here. It's just like, now we're back to the convenience word.
Right.
And you know what, Jules? You just made me realize something.
Hey, before you respond, let's take another pause, and we'll have this part of the conversation. Folks, look, we're talking about it. We're asking the question, does capitalism ruin your purchase? And can you given that of how capitalism is, can you be able to make a purchase in good faith, knowing all of the political or all of the social ideas and decisions that the CEO of a company has? We'll continue the conversation, bring in your comments as well. Stay with us. It's The Culture here on the Black Star Network.
Pull up a chair, take your seat. The Black Tape with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
Don't you think it's time to get wealthy? I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and my new show on the Black Star Network focuses on the things your financial advisor or bank isn't telling you. So watch Get Wealthy on the Black Star Network.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jackie Hood Martin, and I have a question for you. Ever feel as if your life is teetering and the weight and pressure of the world is consistently on your shoulders? Well, let me tell you, living a balanced life isn't easy. Join me each Tuesday on Black Star Network for A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie. We'll laugh together, cry together, pull ourselves together, and cheer each other on. So join me for new shows each Tuesday on Black Star Network, A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie.
It's time to be smart.
Roland Martin's doing this every day.
Oh, no punches!
Thank you, Roland Martin, for always giving voice to the issues.
Look for Roland Martin in the whirlwind, to quote Marcus Garvey again.
The video looks phenomenal, so I'm really excited to see it on my big screen.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
I got to defer to the brilliance of Dr. Carr and to the brilliance of the Black Star Network.
I am rolling with Roland all the way.
Honored to be on a show that you own. A black man owns the show.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
I'm real revolutionary right now. Wow. Roland was amazing on that.
Stay black. I love y'all.
I can't commend you enough about this platform that you've created for us to be able to share who we are, what we're doing in the world, and the impact that we're having.
Let's be smart. Bring your eyeballs home.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared. You dig?
Folks, welcome to the final 30 of the culture here on the Black Star Network, where we're currently talking about capitalism. Has capitalism ruined your purchases, especially in a culture where we know too much about a CEO and their political views or their social ideologies? Does this kind of make it hard for you to feel good to buy something? We've been talking about this with our culture crew, Jules P. and B. Fly. And I want to share with you what some of the our views have been saying about this, because people are checking in. We even brought it up, and Jules, you brought it up, talking about how we go about engaging with Black business owners, right? Which I think we all can know that there is already a double standard. We hold Black business owners to a much higher scale. Right, there's a much higher standard for them than we do white business owners, especially bigger white companies. You know, we'll continue to support white companies, and we give Black folks just one chance. You got one chance to hit me, Ike, and we are out of here. That's how we do Black businesses. But let's go to the comments. Lana, thank you so much. Lana is one of our supporters. Lana, it's good to hear from you. It's been a minute, sis. It's been a minute. But Lana, you checked in and said, look, we inherited this capitalistic society when in fact the ancestors were successful in family and life without capital. When we owned and grew our own, we moved differently than we do today. Well, yeah, absolutely. That is the case. And let me just throw this out there. And I think you probably have thought about this too, Lana, that because we were in a much different time where we didn't have as much access. We didn't have Black people making as much money. More importantly, the culture and the choices that we currently are facing today, much more diverse, many more options on the table than what we faced 50 or 60 or 100 years ago. That has put us all in a space where we're just kind of trying to figure out where to go and how to move. So I think that you're making a good point. We were making decisions without capital. But now when you got Black people making six figures, or when you got Black people that are the influencers and the quote unquote the buying power of this economy, things are going to hit much differently. Things are going to hit much differently. Let's go to Janelle. Janelle, you checked in and said, Farajii, great book, Better Capitalism, Jesus Adam Smith, Ayn Rand, and MLK Jr. on moving from plantation to partnership economics by Paul E. Knowlton, Aaron E. Hodge, and Aaron E. Hedges. Yeah, these are some great books. I'm glad you brought them up and raised them up in the conversation, Danielle. So you're talking about better capitalism, talking about moving from plantation to partnership economics. I mean, yeah, this is it. This is it. Appreciate you, sis. Davey, good to hear from you, brother. You say capitalism is bigger than the choices a consumer makes, but that's definitely what capitalism depends on and reproduces. Capitalism needs happy shoppers. Yeah. Yeah, and I think, B, to the point of what Davey's bringing up, and even what to Lana and to what Janelle was bringing up, you know, when you're talking about these choices and everything, the other part about it is that it's not just about our choices. Like, there is a small element that is us, but I think there's a much larger element that is from the media that we consume that influences how we make our choices. And I think that's what make this, we can't forget about the power of suggestion, the power of mind manipulation. And I'm gonna use that term because when you watch something, right, and it's constantly ingrained into you, and then you see it being advertised by other people that you have an affinity for in the culture, it makes it that much easier to decide, I'm gonna get this.
You're right.
Louis bags, Gucci bags, Balenciagas, and all of that stuff wouldn't be hot in our community if somebody that we already admire, someone that we already look up to, somebody that we already love and respect, if they didn't promote it the way they do, right, being that promoter of those products, then we wouldn't be so compelled to wanting to have them. But because we see that from them, and I don't care what nobody say, this is including myself, folks, we are all influenced by someone else in this day and time. You can't tell me you're not. You can't be like, I'm my own thinker, I don't do what nobody else do. Just the fact that you said that makes you an influence by somebody else. Because it's like a man going up to a woman or vice versa, right? When a man always say, B, you probably heard it, I ain't like these other dudes.
And we call that man.
Say it all the time. I ain't like these other chicks.
And we call that something else.
We all are influenced by somebody else. We all influenced by somebody else. I didn't say that to my wife. Like, I ain't like these other dudes. Either because you don't say, just show that you're not like these other guys, right? But we're influenced by someone else. Speak to that, B.
You know, I think it's really about the idea of success in America, and capitalism is connected with success and the idea of, you know, achieving the American dream and being able to have all of the things that your station of life should be able to afford. And so then we have the capitalistic pressure, you know, and so it's like there's certain items that are connected to people who you find successful. And and you end up wanting to have those items too, either because you are at that level of success and like, oh, I can afford that, or it's because you want somebody else to think you're at that level of success, you know? And so there's that dance that is extremely dizzying for the American who is still trying to develop their sense of self, you know, which today is 8 to 80. Let's just be honest, you know, like once upon a time when we were talking about the golden years and what happens, like that was one America that is gone now. You know, that America, you know, the children were able to commit to organizations for 20 to 50 years and retire. That America was able to purchase properties at respectable rates, you know, that America is done and gone. You know, you have 60-year-olds literally like pounding the pavement today, trying to start new careers. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's literally where we are. So when success is this thing that you never are able to even attain anymore, you know, it slides that moral compass totally out the window when you're just trying to get your paper. You're just trying to get your paper, you know, at the end of the day. And so it's like going recession after recession, inflation after inflation. It literally brings the success line down even further, you know what I mean? And so it's a challenge. It really is. You know, I feel sorry for the shopaholics. It's the shopaholics, you know, that are really going crazy right now.
And let's look at and here's something, and B, you seen it, and Jules, I'm gonna pose this question to you, and I want folks y'all to chime in on this. We have created a whole industry of capitalist promoters on social media called influencers, brand strategists, people,
the new mascot,
women and men who sell themselves to be used for capitalistic interest and gain. Everybody wants to sell you something, especially on IG, on Instagram, right? But they call it, and I love how, because terms and so words mean everything. B, and both you and Jules, y'all know, because y'all are wordsmiths as well. Words mean everything. So instead of saying I'm a pawn for the capitalistic system, I'm a pitch man for capitalism, I'm going to say an influencer. I influence. Well, what do you influence people to do? To buy. To buy.
And to want to be you. And to want to be you.
And to want to be a mascot.
There you go.
Yes, that's the advertising goal.
You want to be a human billboard.
Listen, any corporation who has a mascot, all right, has an intention for this mascot, all right. I need the consumer to be able to want what my mascot is flipping, all right. And today, I also need my consumer to want to be that mascot. You know what I'm saying? So it's levels of unattainability. You know what I'm saying? That the marketer needs the consumer to strive for in order to get that ka-ching today. You know, like they're working hard for our dollars. They're working really hard. You know what I mean? And so and that's what it takes today.
And that's the funny part, because when I see it, Jules, and people be like, well, aren't you an influencer? I mean, hopefully I'm influencing for the culture in terms of consciousness and other things, but I'm not trying to sell you some snake oil. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to be out here pimping my body, my platform space every time you see me. And this is why Instagram is becoming like the place, like it becomes overwhelming and disgusting in some way, because you're seeing human beings devalue themselves for products, for services. So every time you see them, they're always trying to sell you something. There's a makeup tutorial. What is the purpose of the makeup tutorial? To buy you something, right? And I mean, I know some people say, well, there's a space for that. But at the end of the day, it's the spaces for capitalistic means and gains. Jules, what's your take, bro?
So I kind of sort of like, I feel like the social media realm is like taking the middleman out. So now how we're saying these are now, quote unquote, the social media pawns of marketing for companies. It's the same thing companies do, but now people feel like, hey, as an influencer, this is how I dress. This is the lifestyle I live. You should be a part of this same thing as I'm doing. So a lot of their pictures are always them in Miami on boats, or them doing different type of things. That
and they might be getting money too.
Right. And like I said, but that's their lifestyle. And that's where, let's revert all the way back to the beginning conversation of my age bracket. Back then, I that looks cool to me. Where I'm at now financially, I can afford what I want to afford, but I move different. I don't get influenced by what somebody's doing. That looks nice, but I'm quietly doing, like, I'm one of them things moving silence. So I don't post the lit and lavish stuff I do all the time. You get to see a couple of things that I choose to show you here and there, but it's like the lifestyle that I live, like how B-Fly said earlier. What Shaq says all the time, we got G class, G14 class certification. We move different. We the OGs in this game. So we're not influenced by influencers. We the OGs. I move with my own core. Hey, you think you a boss? I've been a boss. You just flaunt yours differently. I don't influence and show mine. This is going to help you better empower you. I'm just showing you a lifestyle. Hey, I'm a family man. I got a nice, decent job. I provide for my family. I take nice vacations and things, and this is how I get down. Can I take a 30-second to also, because I did see one comment, and I didn't mean for this conversation to thrash and target Black businesses. And that's not what the intention was. I was just basically bringing it back to, does the capitalism ruin your purchase? Saying, do we have those same ideals and views that we have for Tesla and Elon Musk? Do we have for our Black companies and Black organizations? So, and I do see the comment from Fly Girl, which I do appreciate, saying about, basically, why don't we talk about Black businesses doing them good? So I'll personally say I did not mean for that conversation to go that way. I was just doing a comparison. But, me, I'm an avid supporter, so I'm going to say, people like Clear Wright with Mess in a Bottle. People like Farajii Muhammad, back when I was young, had New Light Leadership Coalition that got me to the point where I'm at now. You have people like B-Fly, Black Water Production House. You have my producer for my music, Treehouse Studios, clothing brands. You have a homeboy of mine, Curtis Green, he has Fly Mature. You have my man L, who has Passion and Rebel. Kevin Bent, who has Only in America. My hairstylist, Crystal Savard, has her own hair salon. Like I support, I talk about the Black businesses that do good as well, and I do want to keep that at the forefront. I'm not bashing Black businesses, but I'm just naming out a few that just right off the top of my head that I'm in support. Anybody that I know that's doing something, my homeboy Maurice, a homeboy Karan that has car detailing business. Like I go straight to the Black first. So that's not me down in Black businesses, but I also want to also give light to the ones that are doing good as well. So that's just for that comment. Right. I feel like I ain't want to go to a negative.
Well, no, you ain't, and I'm glad you brought them into Black business into the discussion because in order for us to get into a better place with our business, we got to understand the culture of capitalism right now. And the culture of capitalism is one that now everybody wants to be a pitch person. Everybody wants to be used to promote a brand, to promote. And you know what, folks? Let me just tell y'all something, man. Like I don't want to. When I see people, if I'm trying to build a genuine connection to you, it's not transactional. It's not because I want something from you, or I hope that you want something from me. That being in this capitalistic space is a slippery slope because, okay, you got your business, you want support. That's one thing. But every interaction, every engagement with a person doesn't have to be like, what can you do for me? Can you help me take my business further? Otherwise, we can't be friends. I ain't got no time for somebody that's holding me up. And it's like, wait a minute, hold up. This is not about money in business all the time.
Right.
This is about people. You know what I'm saying? And that just makes me think about like when Jay-Z just had a recent conversation with Kevin Hart, and he talks about he does features on people's records. He said he don't do it for the money. He do it based on relationship. That's like this. If that's your friend, that's your homeboy, that's your homegirl. Boom, I'm gonna just jump on there because that's my relationship with you.
That was a great.
Somewhere along the line, capitalism will overshadow genuine relationship building. Because everybody becomes this dollar sign that you're trying to get. Versus seeing people for who they really are, which is everybody ain't a come up. So every time you always hustling, and you talking about I only got people that's going to make me big. Like people add to you not in so many different ways. It's not just in your pockets. So this is why I say that there are consequences to this type of conversation. But I hope that at least this conversation will make it much easier for us to or at least be more aware that we are all in this space together, that we are all trying to figure out how to find a balance, whether you're talking about black business or white business, but we're all trying to find a balance of still getting what we want and what we need and not having feeling like we got to go through a deep dive into a person's psychology. Because when I go to Target, Jules, all I want to do is buy some cheap groceries. That's it, bro. I ain't trying to, you know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to get my Target cash back and keep it moving. That's all I want to do. That's all I want to do. I don't even want to think about politics when I'm in Target. I just, hey, Target. I like Target. You know what I'm saying? I know what Target stands for. I think they stand for some great things. So
look, I can speak highly of Target. I worked there for 2 years. I can speak highly of Target.
I really like Target as a brand. So it works for me. But I'm not expecting, even if I go into a space where the owner could be racist. Hell, we don't know if you go into a Wendy's, if Dave, who was the founder of Wendy's, we don't know if he was racist or not. You go into, we don't know. We don't know if Ray Kroc, who made McDonald's hot, was a racist or not. But you still eat there.
Not even that aspect. I mean, you don't know if you go in there and
you don't know. And that's not. And look. So let's not put that same high standard on black folks. Be like, well, they don't think the same way. Therefore, I don't want to. Oh my gosh. So look, we still got a lot of work to do. All right, we got to take a quick pause. When we come back, let's talk a little bit about rap shit. And I got some stuff for you for Trends, Posts, and Doing the Most. Stay with us. We're going to get to that conversation up next. We'll be back.
Don't you think it's time to get wealthy? I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and my new show on the Black Star Network focuses on the things your financial advisor or bank isn't telling you. So watch Get Wealthy on the Black Star Network.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jackie Hood Martin, and I have a question for you. Ever feel as if your life is teetering and the weight and pressure of the world is consistently on your shoulders? Well, let me tell you, living a balanced life isn't easy. Join me each Tuesday on Black Star Network for A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie. We'll laugh together, cry together, pull ourselves together, and cheer each other on. So join me for new shows each Tuesday on Black Star Network, A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie.
All right, folks, welcome back. Very quickly, as we wrap up the last few minutes of today's show, I wanted to talk about a couple of things. One is Issa Rae's new show, Rap Shit, that can be seen on HBO Max. Now, if you enjoyed what Issa brought in her phenomenal show, Insecure, for 5 years, this might be the show for you. About two women in Miami, Florida, who decide that, since they are dealing with the challenges of everything from motherhood to unfulfilled desires and goals in life, that they decided to do something very, very out of the box, which has become two dynamic groups. The show focuses on two friends by the name of Shauna and Mia. And the show is very, very interesting because it speaks a lot about where the culture is, especially for young Black women in this age of Instagram, in this age of hip hop, and mostly in the age of the culture. This is a very, very, I think it's a good show. Good start. It's only been 2 episodes in, and I like the show a lot. Let me bring in my culture crew very quickly. Jules P. And I think B. Floyd had to jump off because she's doing some other things. But very quickly, Jules, you are a hip hop artist. You had a chance to take a look at the show. And I like what Issa Rae is doing. I like this show is very, it still has some feel of Insecure to me, but there's something fresh and different about this show that I think she was really trying to engage a much younger demographic than what we saw in her own show. Now, she is the writer, creator, and the producer of this one. And I feel like this is the show she really wanted to make. What's your take on this?
So I actually haven't seen it yet, but here's the take I have. So I've been doing my reviews and research. So one, of course, I'm a huge, I love me some Issa. I watched Insecure. I watched the fifth season twice. Like, that's how much I love Issa.
Right.
So the basis of the show, from what I've been reading and know of, is basically about bringing the background story, the upbringing of the City Girls.
Yeah.
And from what I've been told and doing my research on it is, and I can't wait to watch it because, like, I like to put words into actual visual art, but basically about them, starting off, having a sole purpose and more of doing music and entertainment, and getting complimented on their music speaking and what they represented, and then a viral freestyle that went big and major, changed their whole perspective of doing music. If that's the correct what I've gotten from this so far. Yeah. So that's where that's why I'm gonna stop it, because like I said, I gotta watch it to see it. But that's see it, man. My research, but it's like I'm gonna speak on that for sure after I watch it. I don't want to say nothing yet because I like watching. I'm a visual person, but from the story that I heard about the City Girls anyway before they came out, I mean, that just sounds like along the lines of where they got it. And I heard that they worked with Issa to create the story. So that's I like to hear that part too. It's not nothing just fabricated. This is actual what the start was of them getting their break in Miami.
It is if you were expecting. We got B still with us? I know B. I thought B, you had to jump off. Not yet. All right, B, let me get your take on it. What you feeling about rap shit right now from Issa Rae?
Listen, Farajii, when it comes to that right there, this is where, all right, everything that I just said about we holding Black businesses to this higher standard of blah, blah, blah that we shouldn't. All right, so this place right here is where I cannot go through the torture of one episode at a time. I can't even, I honestly, like, I can't even begin to consume rap shit until there's at least 4 episodes in the can ready so I can call out on a Monday and just watch it all day. Understand? You know what I'm saying? So, like, no, I'm sorry, but these are my reasons. I stand by them. I will be consuming, but I need to be able to consume like a crackhead. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need to binge. And unless I can binge this, I can't go up and down. You feel me? I'm already too invested emotionally in like P Valley and The Shy. Like, yo, and I'm a rapper, so I'm sensitive about this shit. You understand? So no.
Hey, look, all right. We can table it. We can table the conversation. Let's table the conversation.
Not yet.
Next week we'll get next
episode. I need mid-August. No, I'm saying, y'all understand? I'm about to get a producer email.
I don't know how many episodes. They might only have like 8 episodes. You gonna wait till the 7th? I'm ready to give you my review.
Listen, we have at least 6.
I think HBO's contract is 10 episodes, 27 minutes each. So I think
that's what I'm saying.
The contracts, so it's 10 episodes, 27 minutes.
We 2 episodes in.
Yeah. So yeah.
No. But see, look, I see people checking in. Lana, you said City Girls. Oh hell, I'll pass. I'm telling y'all, look, the show has some vibrancy here. I think there is a pivotal scene in the 2nd episode between the 2 main characters, Shauna and Nia, where they talk about women in hip hop. And B, I literally was thinking about you. I was thinking about conversations that you and I have had offline about women in hip hop, about the 2 arguments. And Jules, I'm sure you heard it. Women using their bodies to feel some level of empowerment versus women who don't use their bodies and have to feel like, if they want to be respected by men, that they should be bringing their, as they termed it, or you on that queen shit.
Save this conversation for next week. I got a lot to say.
So you got the City Girls. You got the City Girls, Cardi B's, Meg Stallions on one side, and then you got like Rhapsody, Moo Fresh. What's the other sister?
Y'all gotta stop drawing this line. Y'all gotta stop drawing this line in this.
No, I'm not trying. No.
Stop.
We're not drawing the line.
We're not drawing. I'm just acknowledging that the line has been drawn.
Save this conversation for next week. Save this conversation for next week.
All right. Next week, AP, you're going to have to at least watch 2 episodes.
Farajii, I'm here. Jules, I got you. Ain't no way in hell we're really going to be breaking this down without me breaking shit down.
I'm saying, I'm not even.
I'm here.
I'm talking about, don't break down rap. Let's talk about the line, like that line that you just said. Let's talk about why there shouldn't be a line. Let's talk. It shouldn't be a line.
It shouldn't be a line. When y'all see it, here's when y'all see the show, trust and believe. You're gonna have a certain type of feeling about it. Here's one thing that I absolutely love about this show: the use of social media. The use of social media is so authentic that I have to give Issa a round of applause for deciding to tell this story through social media the way she does it. Mm-hmm. Powerful. That's why I say that this show, and I think that if for us, and I mean, man, God willing, we can be able to get Issa Rae on the show, that we definitely need to have Issa as part of the. Issa is really doing something I think is very, very special.
She is the culture,
and she is, and look, she's a part of the culture because there's a lot of people that's in this culture. So I don't want to put it all on her.
No, Issa is the culture.
She's the culture. No, Issa is the culture.
Issa the culture.
But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, and there's the thing about her that I think that has distinguished her from her counterparts, her contemporaries rather, is she has a major platform that believes in the vision, and that's HBO.
Mm-hmm.
HBO has put out huge billboards all over the place for rap shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think, and we're not gonna jump into it right now, but I know for you be distribution, how you present your project, that is just as important as the content as the actual project themselves. And that's what I'm saying. Like you gotta say it for what it is. Like, that's major. But we'll table this conversation. Let's table this conversation for next week, y'all. Let's table it. All right. Final thing, real quick, for Trends Posting doing the most. I could not leave today's show without acknowledging the fact that we got another Black brilliant creator that we can really say is the culture. That is Ryan Coogler. This past weekend, folks, on Saturday night, something major dropped at the San Diego Comic-Con, and here it is. Take a look.
Woman, no cry. No woman, no cry. Hey, little darling, don't shed no tear. No woman, no cry. Good friends we have, and good friends we've lost along the way. In this great future, you can't forget your past. So dry your tears, I say.
Greatest month ever is November. I'm just saying.
I'm ready.
The greatest month ever is November.
Hey. Chadwick Boseman, forever, right?
Facts.
Rest in power. That, but you know, he's one of the few celebrities that I actually like, really, like, genuinely miss, and I didn't even know the brother.
Wow.
But you know, I could tell his spirit, the type of man that he was, and I don't think Ryan Coogler would have made this film if he did not think that he would desecrate the legacy of Chadwick Boseman as a person first, then as a actor second. I think that what we're going to see is something very special. Now, I said this before, and I'm going to just say this again. I don't think they should. I think they should recast the character. I think they should have recasted the character. My vote would have been Aldous Hodge. That was me. But I get it. I ain't in that space, B. So, you know what I'm saying? I know when you make movies, but I would have liked to see the character of Aldous Hodge, personally. But
you know, I think it's like it really shows the legacy of Chadwick's work. You know, when the character that existed before you dies with you.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Like, right. It's amazing. It's a true.
But I don't think
it's a true testament.
I think that's very true. But outside of that, I think that what we're seeing from, and this is something, and again, B, I thought about you because I was like, yo, this is on some Black future, Afrofuturistic, Black woman warrior. You know what I mean? This is, and really, have y'all seen, and real quick to my team, or if anybody in the chat, have y'all seen the movie that Viola Davis is about to release, where she's playing like this warrior? And if y'all could tell me the name of that movie, I real quick, because I just saw it. You know,
Warrior King.
What'd you call it?
Is it called Warrior King?
I think it's called Warrior King.
Mm-hmm.
But we're starting to see something in the depiction of Black women in the movies right now. I think we're starting to see women in a much more militaristic lens, B.
Yeah, we have to, you know, because we represent 53% of the global population at this point. You know, and that's real. We are now the global majority, you know, like that's real. And because of that, you know, the matriarch is going to rise in a different way, and it's going to be captured in a different way. You know, it's going to be highlighted in a different way. It's going to be scrutinized in a different way, you know, as well, you know. And so it's like and we do represent the line between, you know, art and life imitating each other, you know.
Woman King. There it is, y'all. Look at this joint.
An evil is coming that threatens our kingdom, our freedom. But we have a weapon they are not prepared for.
My king, the Europeans wish to conquer us. They will not stop until the whole of Africa is theirs. We must fight back for our people.
Maneska, you are asking me to take them to war.
Some things are worth fighting for.
Don't know.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Listen, let's go. I packed my bag. Let's go. Let's go there.
All right. As we close this out, what are we seeing here, B? And I mean, with all due seriousness, with all due love and respect for the power of depiction in film, especially, and now we're starting to see women. And I'm like I said, these are the two films that come to my mind when I saw Wakanda Forever, and then I was like, damn, Woman King is on that same vibe. Like, you got women who are taking this role like, no, we are going to be the protectors of our nation, of our territory. We are the defenders of our people. And I'm just wondering, being put out by major studios, what does that say for us in the culture right now?
That evolution is real and it's seen. You know, it's real. This is where we are, you know, and you can only subjugate one so long before that one learns how to liberate themselves, you know, and so women aren't asking anymore, we're taking. And so there's a difference, you know what I'm saying, in achieving freedom for us. You know, there's and unlike, and for some reason men are able to detach the needs of their children from liberation, and that's another place where we differ, you know. So when we deal with the idea of a woman king, we're dealing with the irony of really being able to get to the future while taking care of our children, the present, you know. And there's certain wrongs that have to be made right. And a part of the way man leads is, all right, we're just going to move forward. We can't just move forward when our enemy is still out there running wild. You understand? And so there's a certain level of matriarchal energy that is going to be needed in order to tsunami this whole situation, because we all know the destruction of a tsunami, but the beauty that happens to that ocean afterwards, the calm, the stillness, the transparency of those waters is real. And that can only happen, you know, through the matriarch, you know, and it's real, you know, and it's scary and it's beautiful, you know, and it's a part of God that people fear. But it's necessary. Welcome to the next 2,000 years. Power.
There it is. There it is. Absolutely. Jules, what's your take on this very quickly, bro?
I can't wait for either movie to be released. I'm glad to see that that's being utilized by these major production companies and these major directors, because that's where the look has to be given to. It can't just be on our local channels or these local Black networks or local stations or things like that where it's only seen by us. It has to be shown to the masses, and that's the type of the type of appeal that I want to be seeing. So I'm glad it's actually going to the major platforms, like, and it's getting those looks, because we know the stories. We love to see the stories, but it's time for the world to also see those stories, not just domestically but internationally as well.
I think that what we're seeing, B and Jules, is going to be it's going to be one thing to see it, but I hope that it conjures new conversations about the importance of the Black woman. I hope it conjures new conversations about the importance on the Black woman's influence and impact on our culture. And I know that it's going to open up some discussions about everything about our history, to why the role that Black men can play in supporting Black women. You know, if you got an Issa Rae, you got an Angela Bassett, you got a Viola Davis, you know, putting out content of this magnitude. This is good stuff. B Fly put out her content, you know, talking about Love Amethyst. You know, when you're talking about shaping the future of how our people are and the place that we can be, you got to have a Black woman to tell that part of the story. You got to. Otherwise, we just talking, Jules. As men, we just talking.
Right.
And B, you are absolutely on point. I'm happy that you brought up this point. Men don't think about the children traditionally, but we are at this place where women are going to take us to the next level and bring the children along. And I think that's the maturity and the growth that men, we need to take as we look into the future. We have to think about the children as much as the women do. Look, B Fly, Jules P, I absolutely love Mondays with y'all, man. Y'all are awesome. So I appreciate you both. B, thank you so much for your extra time that you spent with us. Jules, always a pleasure for your insight about from the next generation. Thank you both for being so good for the culture.
Thank you, Farajii. That's all
Absolutely.
you know, we just reflections.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, folks, that's going to do it for us. I thank each and every one of you for being a part of the conversation. We apologize for going a little bit over time today, but just goes to show you got so much to talk about, man. It has to go somewhere. We got to have these conversations. And that's why we ask you each and every time that we're blessed to be on here, that we get your support for blackstarnetwork.com. Show us your support. You can support us via Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, or Zelle. And more importantly, let your friends and family know you can download the app for free, subscribe for free, and guess what? Just start putting out the word about all of our content. Hey, also, did y'all see the new LA Times article about Roland and Black Star Network? Have you seen that one yet? If you haven't, check out latimes.com. Go on to the website and check out the big feature of Brother Roland Martin and how he's featured in the LA Times for the founding of Black Star Network. Definitely check out his interview and what he had to say about the future of Black media, because Black media matters. So make sure y'all check him out in the LA Times news story. And I'm sure you can find that on all your platforms. If you follow Roland Martin, you know he's posted that. He should have posted that by now. But definitely check it out. All right, folks, that's going to do it for me. As always, never be afraid to challenge what's wrong. Stand for what's right while being yourself in the process. God willing, we'll talk tomorrow. We're going to have a conversation tomorrow with our Tuesday sisters. You know, I'm bringing Iman Heath and Lise Winnie. Let's talk about Keke Palmer and Zendaya, the discussion around colorism. We'll have that conversation tomorrow for another exciting edition of The Culture right here on the Black Star Networks. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Talk to you then. Peace.